All right, three. Here we go. We're live again. Big red dot is a go. Welcome back to the Holin None Pod with your host Shanky and my co-host Hayden Hayden High Tees. How you going?
Yeah, good, thank you.
And we got Danny Business as well. How you going, Danny?
Good mate, how are you?
Good. Thank you for asking. Now, big weekend, major weekend, Oak Hill. Big winner Brooks Koepka from the LIV Tour, as they call it, followed by a tie for second and third between Scotty Scheffler and Victor Hovland. It was a weekend of backwards hats, rain, some weird track suits on the course. Um, I thought Roy was like, I don't know if you saw Roy when he had his suit on, but he looked like he was from an old '90s rap video or something. I thought it was great.
Yeah,
We had PGA professional stars out there. Michael Block, probably the hero of the weekend. And then overall, I think we just had some really really hard golf that we were watching. So we're gonna get right into it. I'm gonna let Hayden High Tees tee off with some stats for the weekend, and then we'll move more into the golfers.
yeah. Look, easy. The most muddiest guy on tour, Tom Ken. I think that was in the first day. Did you see him fall in the creek?
Yeah. Yeah.
I just love that it's the best thing PGA has done with coverage in weeks. They did not cut away for a second. There was like 15 minutes of Tom. They lost him in the river cleaning himself. Just fantastic.
Yeah.
Love it. So yeah, look, back on the course, it did pretty much exactly what we thought it was going to do. I ran over a couple of stats because I did a fair bit of research going into it. 16, 17, 18 all played over par, just like we thought, just like we called out. Most birdies, I think, was maybe 13, 14. So look, basically it came down to once Koepka had that lead, I didn't think anyone was going to catch him. He really had to lose it. Like,
Yeah.
Those holes were so hard to birdie. Like, I think Scotty got a really nice one on the last, maybe, but the course did exactly what we thought. The rough was outrageous. I never want to play there in my life, but it made for good watching. Probably couldn't watch that every week, just as we don't want to watch Hawaii every week. But it was a really nice change. Anything you guys saw?
The one thing I was going to say about that I noticed is if Hovland doesn't hit that bunker shot into the lip of that bunker, right? Let's just say he does his normal shot out of there, gets onto the green, and does what he does. On that 18th hole, he actually Brooks would have had to have made that putt to not go to a playoff, right? Which he left just short. So, but maybe Brooks, if he was under that pressure, he would have made that putt. I don't know. We'll never know. But interesting, to note that if he hadn't have had that happen, we could have been for a very different last hole or so.
Potentially, but you never know.
Potentially, yeah. Lots of things could have been different, but I just wanted to note that because there's nothing I would have wanted more this morning than to see, and I didn't care who won out of Hovland or Brooks, but there's nothing I wanted more than to see a playoff on that course. I don't care if Brooks won, I don't care if Hovland won. I want them both to win because I've grown fond of both of them, even though Brooks is a live golfer.
Is there anything you want to throw towards that, Simon, before I go towards? I've got some stats on each players, which are going to blow your guys' minds. So,
well, I will just say when we're talking about how difficult the holes are, I thought number 6. I think it was number 6 stood out to me.
6.
I think I saw almost everyone get a double bogey on there one day of the week. I think there was a number. I think was it Matsuyama he didn't even make it to the fairway. It was just so long. And everyone else was hitting it to the creek on the right, and Phil actually went in to look for his balls, which he's been looking for them for a while, I think. Who knows? He's
found them. The Saudis now.
You're right. 6 was the second most double bogeys for the weekend.
Oh, insane.
16th was the first.
Insane. But yeah, that was only to me. That was the hole I saw stand out most of the weekend. But yeah, just really hard golf, and I will call myself out and say, on the I don't know if it's a preview show or last week when we were talking about Oak Hill, I kind of was saying, I'm just hoping it's not boring. It wasn't. I think we had some great competitive golf. You're either in it or you're way out of it. It was great to see people just going up and down the leaderboard. So I was very, very happy with the weekend. But happy to go back into the stats.
Yeah, cool. I just wrote a few players down, and it sort of blew my mind as I was going through these, how people lost this tournament. Like, Brooks did well, right? We're talking 6 driver accuracy. He's hit 57% of fairways, 7th in approach shots, so hitting the green, and 13th in putting. This is strokes gained. So like really solid numbers. Wasn't the best at anything, but you don't have to be. He just didn't suck at anything. Patrick Cantlay, first in driving accuracy by a country mile, by 10%, 71% of fairways hit. He was 12th in approach to green, and he lost this tournament by being 45th in putting, 0.2 strokes gained.
Yeah.
Scotty Scheffler, 4th in driver accuracy, 58%, 1.4 into the green, which was 5th. If he could putt, 0.3 is not good enough, 35th. Michael Block, the man of the moment, 2nd in driver accuracy in the PGA Championship, 62%. 1.5 strokes gained putting, really good. He was 6th in the tournament, but 0.5 strokes gained approach green. He was almost 30th. So, driver play. Morikawa, he was okay. His worst stats were probably his approach game, which is what he's best at.
Yeah.
Hovland was awesome. He was number 1 with irons this weekend.
He looked like
it showed it.
Apart from that one
2.9 strokes gained with approach play.
I thought maybe Brooksy would be up there. One or the other.
Could not putt. 0.6. He was 25th at Hovland. And the man who threw this tournament away, the number 1 guy, everyone's favorite, Sepp Straka. He was 4th in driver accuracy, 2nd in approach play, and he was 53rd in putting, 0.02 strokes gained putting. He is the worst putter, and he could have easily have won this competition if he could just putt a golf ball.
What was his?
It always
4
comes
rounds?
down to putting, though, doesn't it? It always comes down to putting. At the end of the day.
I think I can't even remember where he finished because I didn't bother writing it down because his putting made him.
He started with an eagle on the first day on the first hole.
Yeah. He was like 100%. Just
because he had a huge day today, right? Like he had a huge day.
Yeah.
And he went -5 with a bunch of them.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I think he was like top 10.
But just lost so many strokes putting, he was no good. But Koepka, 6th, 7th, 13th, just that's all you got to do to win the PGA Championship is be consistent. I really feel like Scotty could have easily have won this by 5.
He was there day 1, day 2, and then day 3 he just fell apart. He just couldn't play in that wet weather.
100%. And I feel like in rugby, I'm not sure if there's a thing with like American football. I'm sure it's the same, but we've got a saying like you've got to play for 80 minutes. Scotty plays for 81 minutes every single weekend, no matter where he is. Yeah. He does not stop. And he could. I know that I don't even feel like Koepka was looking at Hovland. I felt like he was watching Scotty.
Well, Danny Bitters, you kind of mentioned this to me, I think, yesterday. But if it was, you thought that Victor Brooks' final round was going to be Brooks because, Victor being a happy guy was always going to be there. And then what if it was going to be Scotty? Do you think it would have been the same result?
No, so what I was saying yesterday, for playing with Hovland to end a tournament or to round out a tournament is very different than playing with Scotty, Rahm, McIlroy, right? If he was playing with one of those 3, I reckon Brooks loses. Although today, I don't think Brooks loses that to anyone today. Brooks was beating everybody.
Came out hot. Came out really hot. Yeah,
it's great that the best thing to happen to the LIV Tour happened on the PGA Tour.
Well, I think it's LIV Tour now, according to the
but that, like the biggest news to come out of LIV came out of PGA, which is great. So the only time that we talk about LIV golfers being great is when they participate in PGA events, which has happened twice now, which is awesome. I love it.
He's always got to get a word in. He's got to get a word in.
Well, hey, we're talking about this is the biggest news to come out of it, right?
From all the rolling.
Tell me I'm wrong.
All the respect the PGA players gave to Brooks. They never made it about LIV. They never made it about any of that. It's always the media and Danny Bidness just causing a ruckus, causing a storm.
Hey,
anyway.
I was, like I said before, I was happy for either of them to win. Obviously, I've liked Hovland for like a couple of years now. I think he's a really fun golfer to watch. His drives are always awesome, and his iron play is obviously this weekend is really good. He always struggles with his putting and chipping out of bunkers and stuff, but he did quite well. It was such a shame, I said today, like to see him do that shot that your boy Connors did yesterday, like carbon copy, same shot. It was so. I was just thinking, like, you've seen this happen yesterday. Just take the extra club and then chip on for a par. Like, you don't need to. I guess maybe the pressure of rounding out a tournament because he hasn't done one in such a big event. But we spoke a little bit as well throughout the week. well, I definitely said, like, I just loved watching these top guys having to putt for par. Like, they were one putt parring, right? Which is what we do on the weekend. Like, when we have a par chance, it's a one putt par.
If we're
and
lucky.
These guys had like these long putts they just had to sink, and I loved watching it. It's such a good change. It was such a difference.
So just to go back, for the people listening who may not have seen what Danny Binnis is talking about, there was a bunker shot that Corey Connors had hit out that went directly and embedded itself into the bank in front of the sand bunker, immediately basically losing a shot. The same situation Victor Hovland was put in on the last day, and it's him and Brooks Koepka going down the straight for the last two holes, and Victor puts it into the exact same bunker and then proceeds to hit it directly into the same front of that bunker and embeds the ball into the ground again, essentially losing a shot and double bogeying that hole, losing the championship for him.
And he used the same club that Connors used from the same spot. So I don't know if he just thought.
Was it a 9-iron?
It was a 9-iron, and he just thought, you know. And I'm looking at it myself, I thought he should easily get a 9-iron over here, right? He's playing his iron so well, but it's just a risk that was unnecessary. You know, sometimes you just got to lay out. Like I said, I think maybe just the pressure of having to make it happen. What I did like, again, this is a little bit like not about those two, but how good was it last night watching it, you know, before you go to bed? JT and what's his name?
DJ.
Tina.
No,
it was,
not DJ. That was Spieth.
Mickelson. JT and Mickelson teeing off together, and they were both having a horrible time because they were playing terrible golf. But it's like any other year, these could be the final group, and this is the first group. Like, I thought that was great.
Hey, Hayden, hi, teams. Do you have stats on the golfers, the big name golfers who did make the cut in the major?
I don't have I could probably find them quite easily. Like, this up in front of me. Would anyone in particular you're looking for?
I mean, Ricky didn't make it. Billy Horschel didn't make it. There were some other big names too.
Jason Day after last week.
Oh yeah, JD didn't make it, man. And Matt Fitzpatrick.
Matt Fitzpatrick missed the putt on the 18th. Yeah.
I'm thinking it's only showing ones that made the cut for some reason, because it's got to show an average of 4 days.
I don't
played.
think that
Justin Thomas was I don't think so either. Justin Thomas 57th in driver accuracy. I mean, that probably
he was bad off the tee too.
That probably sums it up really, because like if you're 57th,
really bad spell.
Yeah, but on this course with the rough the way it was, the one that actually surprises me there's two that stick out for me. 74th, the worst driver accuracy of anyone that made the cut, Justin Rose, played lights out. So I don't know how he just like,
he's a short game king, right?
He's scrambling god. And the other one's
making some long putts.
The other one's your boy Minwoo Lee. He was terrible. 65th, Cameron Smith. So that could have been very different if he could hit some.
He made a run today too.
But hey, how about the Aussies though? You know, we had 4 Aussies plus Ryan Fox in the top 30. Like huge. Yeah. Cam Davis coming out of nowhere, tying for 4th. Big day for the young man. Big day.
You just need one big round, right? And that's what I was saying yesterday about Rory. This is set up for Rory to have a big round, and I think he like started, but then he just couldn't pull it together in the end.
Rory was actually very consistent. Like I think he went 1 over the first day, and then after that I think it was like 200, like every day.
He needed to come out today and do like a 5 under, but even then he still wouldn't have won with Koepka playing the way he did. Like I said, no one was beating Koepka today, so it didn't really matter.
And just another couple of big names.
Except for Michael Block. Michael Block beat everyone.
He won the day. A couple of stats before we go, before we leave the stat segment. 58th in putting, Justin Thomas again. Like, geez, can't drive, can't putt. My God. Jordan Spieth, 64th putting.
Spieth didn't end too badly though.
I tell you,
that wrist was strapped.
And the one 74th, Tony Finau.
Yeah, Big Tone
he didn't play very well.
Didn't produce.
Yeah, no, he didn't. So
I mean, I'm assuming we're going to talk about Michael Block at some point, but it was, how funny was it? The biggest cheer of the day was the guy finishing 15th, and it was so good to watch. Like, how good was that putt to watch go in? You know, and these are and again, not to bash on Liv, but these are the stories that the PGA creates, right? You're not having this with Liv, you're not having this with DP.
Another quite funny story was, I can't remember, I think it was Kurt Kitayama and someone else. They were sitting on a cut line for getting an invitation to maybe the US Open. And if Bryson went up and down, he knocked both of them out of contention of those invites.
It was the Masters next year.
Whatever it was. I just thought the commentators made a really big, concise effort to make sure we knew that if Bryson did that, they were off the Christmas card list.
Wow.
But he's a good guy, right? So he's not gonna do that.
So good guy
boys.
Bryson just helping the boys out.
Good guy
Hey,
DeChambeau.
I'll give it to Bryson. We were sitting here. He was like second or third most likely to miss the cut when we looked at the stats on the preview show. I'll give it to Bryson. He exceeded anyone's expectations.
Day one leader.
He
came out and killed it.
But then he didn't. And we all were like, even after that, we're like, oh, he'll probably, he'll peter out. But he didn't. He was what, he in T4 or something? Like,
yeah,
great
T4 is T4 as well, I think. Yeah. With
he was
him,
4 under,
Davis.
I think. Yeah.
And do you know what? 9th in driver accuracy.
I was gonna ask because I thought was really funny because the first day, I think I sent you that video, Dan. He went and launched one and hit old mate on the tee box on another hole, and he was still 9th in driver accuracy. That's insane.
He used a lot of 3-wood, I noticed, and he wasn't trying to hit the skin off the ball. So
I feel like he could have done better. I think I said this in the chat too. Like, there was a couple of shots of his I was watching on his approach shots where he was like, just to prove how strong he is, he would take one less club just to prove a point, but then he would be 10 meters short or 15 yards short. And I'm like, bro, just take the club you need. We all know you're a big hitter. That's okay. Like, he was trying to hit like a 9-iron from like 180 yards out. I'm like, just use the 8. That's still impressive. I'm still super impressed.
I saw the exact same thing. I saw the exact same.
And it could have been 2 shots better. He could have come T3, T2, maybe be in the final group.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think he made a comment about I think he's definitely smaller than he was. And I think he made a comment. I think he made a comment about his size. So I reckon, when he's not eating and working out as much and focusing more on his golf, he probably does lose a lot, or like probably more power than we would because we're not doing it all the time. But yeah, he probably has some of those clubs where it's like, I don't know if this will go 190 or 170 anymore, right? So that probably plays in his head a little bit.
It just felt like he was trying to like prove a point instead of just hitting what he should have hit a couple of times. But again, like I said, he still gets props. He's also
he's also a bit of a showman too, right? Like, he wants to impress the crowd. That's what he did when he hit across the lake at what was that the US? No, I don't think it was US Open. Remember, he has got that. PGA.
That was the Ryder Cup, wasn't it? When he was like driving over rivers and stuff no one else could drive over.
Yeah, something like that. I can't remember the tournament, sorry, but yeah, I feel like that's the type of guy he is. Anyway,
yeah.
We'll move on now. Guys, I want your top 3 golfers that you were impressed with. That it could either be the ones you wanted to win, or it could be ones that you like Victor Hovland, you probably didn't see being up there the whole time. And then we'll go into our probably top 3 disappointed for the weekend. Starting with you, Danny Business.
Well, I mean, obviously the top 3 that I would be like, I would include Koepka and Hovland in that list, but I think I'll leave those 2 out because it's obvious they came first and second, right? Obviously, well, we'll start with number 3. Number 3 for me would be probably Bryson. Like, we just talked about Bryson, someone that just came completely out of nowhere and just played really, really well. Number 2 for me would probably be, again, it's not a fancy pick, but like for me, I was really happy to see the way Rory played and to be, like you said, consistent. And I felt like maybe it was setting the scene for him to be good, but maybe we've got rid of all of the rubbish. And this is Rory coming back, another major, another good performance. But number 1, I mean, you can't go past Michael Block. There's like no one knew anything about that guy.
No.
Before today, and like all of the TikToks, all the videos you see when he's crying, and they interviewed him, while he's walking up, and the commentators are trying to make this poor dude cry while he walks to the green, talking about his kids being proud of him, and he's just like, "Hey, could you not? Like, I'm trying to make a putt here," and then sinks a birdie putt. That was great. So
I think he was also crying when he found out that he qualified for like another event or something.
Charles Schwab next week, and then he cried at the end, and but the dude said like, this is the best week of my life, and I know it. So I'm just going to relish every opportunity I get. He's playing with Rory McIlroy, dunking a hole in one. He's even when he dunked it, he's like, "Nah, that didn't go in." It's like, "Are you serious? That's not me." Just great things to what you think about everyone who's ever given you a lesson, and then that's the equivalent of this guy, right? He's just gone on, and I think I saw a stat that the amount of money he won was equivalent to 1,900 and something lessons worth of money. So just a tick under 2,000 lessons he would have to do to make the same amount of money.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. He
That's my top three.
he was also I think the most willing to put the earpiece in and walk down the fairway and talk about his game. He was on like 2 or 3 times.
He's just living his life. I remember at the beginning they said like his only goal left in his career is to make a cut, and then he goes on to be to sink it up and down, a really really hard up and down on 18, to get an invitation to, is it the Masters that he got? No, back to the PGA next year. He got the Charles Schwab invitation. Yeah, it's all great stuff.
Charles Schwab is this weekend upcoming.
It's next weekend, yeah.
Mm.
So that's what he said. He had to change his flight. He had to change his flights from going home to going to Dallas. The field is amazing next week.
Good field.
Is it an elevated Charles Schwab?
No, it's not.
No,
it's not.
I didn't think so.
But it's a really good. It's just a solid event. The next elevated is in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it's the one after that. Yeah.
I think it
would
helps
be,
that it's in Texas because a lot of the boys are from there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, Scheffler and all them.
All right.
Yeah, so that's my three.
All right, I'll go into mine if that's all right, Hayden.
Yep.
Coming in at number 3, I'm gonna go with what's his name? Cam Smith. Cam Smith on the last day, he hadn't been playing well at all, and then shoots a -5. I've always wanted Cam to kind of pull back and start winning again, where he hasn't. I didn't watch him all weekend, and then saw he put up a -5 on the last day, and I went back and watched all his highlights. So Cam Smith, it's a bit hopeful for me. I'm still happy to see him there. It's great to see. Number 2, same as you, Dan. It was Rory McIlroy. It's great to see him back in somewhat of a form, making cuts, playing decent golf. And even when he wasn't playing, he was able to get himself out of those situations and pull himself back.
He seemed happy too, like playing with Michael Block today. He seemed like it was all about Block. It was none of it was about him. So it was kind of
Yeah. And he's very respectful to Brooks when he won. I think we all saw that. Like, he's just overall, I think, trying to move away from drama and just focusing on golf. And when he does that, I feel like he plays his best golf. Number 1 for me, though, Danny Bidness, this is a bit of a shout out to your man, Tyrrell Hatton. Old mate shot 77 the first day. I thought he was done. Didn't think he would make the cut. I thought he was absolutely done. And he goes and shoots 68, 69, 67 to put up finish with a +1, right? But +1 in this is,
pretty good.
Is making top 20. So congrats to Tyrrell Hatton. And again, staying away from the biggest names as my top 3 impressive golfers. Well done, mate. It's good to see.
In times gone by, he would have just blown up after that first round performance, right? So maybe he's starting to level out a little bit.
No, he's still blowing up. He blew up about that par 3. Do you hear? He was just saying, I think he said the SH something T hole in golf. So yeah.
That was Rahm, wasn't it? He said, "Oh, good job, PGA."
Nah,
he was so salty at the 16th.
I'll look it up. I think it was Hatton.
Look it up,
yeah.
Okay.
Hayden, what do you got?
I think number 3, I am going to go with Brooks. Not for particularly how he was today, but thinking back at Full Swing and the live stuff, the injuries, it was a real showing of character. And if we were talking about him a year ago, everyone hated Brooks. He was like number 1 enemy. Nobody liked him. He was miserable. He wouldn't do interviews. He's done a little bit better with his brand, I think. But when he won this, and then all the stats came out of how many he's won, like he's a major behind Tiger, I think, and just it's amazing. Like I just think it's amazing. It's a credit to him in his all of the facets of his life. I think, especially changing the brand, changing the perception, going in and talking to Rory and everybody. I think that was really well played and well deserved, to be honest. So
completely agree.
He's 10 behind Tiger, by the way. I just looked it up. He just beat Rory. He's 1 ahead of Rory for majors.
Oh, I can't remember what I saw today. He was on 5 and Tiger had 6.
Oh, you're talking about
on
PGA Championships.
PGA maybe. Yeah, okay. I was saying majors.
Tiger's got 5. He's got 3 now.
15.
Yeah. Anyway, so it was fantastic. Anyway, probably so number 2. I don't know. Probably Victor Hovland. Like just battling. Like what a horrible weekend. Young dude. Like I don't know where you play golf in Norway. It's snowy. Like ice, like so I don't know. He's a good guy. Like he's one of the he fits in that good guy category with Finau and all of them.
And he learned to play golf on YouTube, right? Like that was his big
I
his big claim to fame.
I think Rick Shields taught him over YouTube. He's a big subscriber. So,
Probably.
but yeah, no, Victor Hovland.
During COVID.
That was a good story there. I quite liked. And number one, like Dan's already gone over it, but Michael Block, like fantastic. I missed the hole in one. I went and jumped in the shower, and my wife watched it and came running in, going, "I can't believe that you missed this. That PGA guy got a hole in one."
Yeah.
And she was like screaming, and I was just like that. So I mean, like, credit to him for that. Like she's not a huge golf fan, but it got everybody excited. So
actually, I did have something on that hole in one. I don't know how you guys feel about this, but they show it delayed because obviously they don't know what's going to happen. But the commentators, like, I feel like they should act as if it was live, but they don't. They say, "Oh, moments ago on the par 15," and it's like, well, now I know it's a hole in one because of what you've just said. I wanted to be a surprise. Like, why can't you, if you know it's a hole in one, just cut to it and be like, Michael Block on the 15th taking his tee shot, but instead they're like, "Oh, this happened moments ago." So it's like, well, what else is it going to be?
Yeah,
like,
I've thought about that too. I've thought about that too. I'm not sure how I felt about it.
Just pretend and then
just lie to me. Lie to me.
Yeah, just lie to me. Yeah, better than most. Let's do it.
Well, on that note, on the broadcasters, what did you think of the broadcasters before we get into the most disappointing? What did you think of the broadcasters this weekend?
I thought they were very good, and one of our friends, me and Dan's friends that lives in New Zealand, commented and said the broadcast was fantastic. And this guy's not a big golf guy, so yeah, I thought they were fun.
I think that the main coverage was pretty good, but I feel like the same again, like the early coverage was like some bad camera angles. I found like the first 2 days the cameraman was struggling to follow the ball a couple of times, and you didn't really know where the drives went, and the TrackMan was a bit off. But outside that, I just think that they could do a better job of creating a bit more excitement. That par 3 being a perfect example.
I thought there was one gentleman in particular, one of the broadcasters, who every time someone would miss a putt by, say, like 3 feet, he'd be like, "Oh, horrible putt, awful putt." I'm like, that's not a bad putt. Like, first of all, it's like a lag putt. Like, do you expect it to be almost in every single time? Anyway, I got a bit annoyed by that, and I think he also made a comment when Victor hit it into the bunker. That was just like, why did he do that? It's like, well, he didn't mean to do that. It was like, anyway, I won't say which one it was, but anyway, that's the only thing that bothered me, and it was one specific guy, but the rest was good. The coverage I thought was great. I think they did a really good job. It's kind of like we were talking about LIV, like they have to keep jumping around, trying to get all the highlights because there's so much going on. But I thought they did a really good job organizing it and going back to the shots that they wanted you to see. Disappointing golfers now, because I think we had our eyes set on a lot of different people. Hayden, I'll let you start this one if you're ready.
Yeah, look, number 3, only because I thought that this was maybe he could have done a bit better, and I won't, like, he obviously let me down in another way, but we won't talk about that. As Morikawa, like he was so close, man.
Is this your number 3 or number 1?
This is my number 3, Morikawa. Okay. That and the bit of the game that let him down was his approach game, which is what he does. Yeah. Like I think I saw a stat somewhere that his like 6-iron was more accurate than most people's 9-iron or something. Like we're talking he can put a 6-iron 30 yards further away, closer than most person's club. So I don't know. I just felt like he could have done a bit better. Number 2, probably maybe Tony Finau. I don't know. Tony started really badly, and then they had him on the hot mic on day 1, and it was a really good interview. I don't know if you guys saw that.
He's great in front of the camera.
He was great,
and he was playing so well at that point too.
And no, he was playing terrible, and then they got him on the hot mic, and he birdied like 3 holes in a row, and they were like, "Hey, if you want to get birdies, get on the hot mic." And so it worked really well.
Worked well for Michael Block.
Well, Michael Block got a birdie as well. Yeah,
exactly. So it's pretty much proven now. So, but yeah, Finau. I mean, I thought he was going to turn his weekend around there, but not quite. And number 1 is Justin Thomas. And we want him to be successful. He's the man. He's the man. And I feel like all of these guys that live down in Florida are just like, they're not. He was the man.
Are they taking this seriously?
No, I don't know if they're taking it. It's just like they're not. He was the man.
Yeah.
Ricky, Tiger, all of them. But who's the new man down in Florida? I don't know anymore.
to be fair, JT has not been playing well. He wasn't really trending towards winning a championship. But I completely understand what you're saying.
Yeah, but like I think like when Cam won the Open, Cam became the man.
Yeah.
And now Brooks is maybe the man. Like Justin Thomas, man, what a pedigree! Just I don't know what's wrong with him.
I thought it was set up for him on day 3 when he just made the cut. I thought, well, last year he was a 1.5% chance to win, and he came back and won it. Like I was like, that's again set up for him, right? There's some stories here, and then he just came out and just absolutely shit the bed. But,
maybe he's the full swing guy this year.
Maybe.
Yeah.
You know, crying into his millions.
Joel Damon.
Trophies.
No, I think he's the Brooks of this year.
Oh, sorry, the Brooks.
Yeah.
The Brooks. Sorry, I thought you meant like he was just a subpar golfer that might be on the full swing and get a bit of a nod. What about you, Danny?
Yeah, look, my 3. Well, I mean, again, apart from your main ones like your John Rahms and stuff like that, he obviously was a bit of a disappointment again. Not again, sorry, for pretty much for the first time. He was a disappointment.
I think John just never recovered from day 1.
No, he wasn't. It wasn't a course for him, right?
Yep.
But I mean, number 3 for me, Jason Day. I had put him in to be the top Aussie. He had the opportunity to. He was just about on the cut line, and then he went out and double bogeyed one of the holes. I thought that after last week he would probably do a bit of a better showing, but I don't know. Maybe the dude was tired. Maybe he just didn't have it this week. Which is just sort of the way it is. Another one for me, so my second one would probably be Dustin Johnson as well, DJ. I thought that if any live golfer, I even said like the first live golfer to win a major will be DJ. He sort of just didn't do a lot. When I was watching him on the coverage, like he seemed like he was playing okay, but he just wasn't scoring, and I didn't really know why. He did one of the worst slices off the tee that I've seen him do ever. On that short par 4 where they all try and drive into the bunker and then chip on. So that was interesting from him. And then I guess my most disappointing, probably apart from like your main ones, probably, it's my main disappointment is probably going to be I was really hoping Ricky Fowler was going to make a top 10, but he missed the cut as well. I guess my biggest disappointment of the week, not so much because of he didn't win, was Mr. Foxy. He was one shot off being top 20. So that was the thing I was most disappointed in. But players would be those 3 for sure.
Yeah, you had a bit of meat in the game on that one, but that's all right, mate. That's all right.
Yeah, he's one shot off, but it's all good.
For me, number 3 was John Rahm, the man I thought was going to come out swinging and just kind of fell short. The whole weekend, so that was a bit disappointing to see. I, like everyone, have been cheering for Ricky all year. Not seeing him make the cut was a bit disappointing. So that's my number 2, and then my number 1 most disappointing player of the weekend has to be Adam Scott. He started off with a bang. Then he goes 4 over, and then last day he played okay again to kind of pull back. But man, like if he could just put together 4 solid rounds, I know he could win. I mean, saying that, you could say that to everyone, but I just feel like he's, even though he's been in the game for so long, like he's still got it, and I want to see him win. So anyway, number 1, Adam Scott. Still love you, but I was disappointed you didn't make it.
I might pull up some of his stats after we're done and just have a look at it and let you know how he went, because I'd like to see where it fell over.
Let me know where his putting is. Let me know where his putting's at. Because he was putting so well, I'm interested to know how he did this weekend. Now, just before we move on to OWGR, because I just want to quickly touch on that. Was there anything else we want to go over for Oak Hill?
No, it's a good watch, good competition. Really enjoyed myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think I'm good. It was good. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, that was probably one of my favorite tournaments I've seen this year. The major did not disappoint. I definitely would say it was probably on par with the Masters for me, except this time Brooks didn't fall over and give it to Rahm, because honestly, if Brooks played like he did on the 4th day this time, and I think we can put to bed the old Brooks, he can't play a 4th day, because he obviously can. I think, to be honest, most of these guys, if you look at their rounds, they had at least one day where they couldn't play, right? They had one big day. So they can definitely play 4 rounds. I think Brooksy could have taken the Masters. I think he probably should have 2 majors. I think looking back, I think he easily could have beat Rahm. I know Rahm. I don't even think Rahm played that well on the last day to beat Brooks. I think Brooks just played bad. If we go back to the Masters, but anyway, I think we can put that to bed. But what I wanted to talk about was the and Hayden, you brought this up in a previous podcast, the OWGR, right? The world rankings. Now, I have a bit of an issue with after this win for Brooks. So he is, by all means, he moved down like 30 places to I think 13th or 14th from like 40 something. But if I look now at the level of golf he's played this year versus other players in the top 10, Brooksy destroys them. He should be way higher. Cam Smith, no offense to the guy, he's not done anything this year that where he should be keeping in 8th place, right? There's been enough golf played. I'm kind of seeing what you're saying now, Hayden. Some of this doesn't make sense, and I understand it's over a long period of time, but it doesn't represent the best in the world at this point in time.
And it's not year on year. They don't reset it. It's over a period. And like Cam won a major too, and Cam won a few events and had a lot of high placements last year. You got to remember, like last year, Cam had a really, really good year. That was like less than 12 months ago.
Yes, but I'm saying this year there's been enough golf.
Yeah, but it's not how the rankings work.
Brooks should exactly, and that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. But you can't just reset it every year. It's not broken.
That's not what I'm saying.
That's
not what I'm saying.
Yeah, but
it's
look,
the reason I'm saying there's been
like
enough golf played that he should be in the top 10.
I think
you know what he
all
should do if he wants to be in the top 10.
Hold up, let Hayden speak, Dan. What was that?
It's not the recency bias. It's more the time capture is, I think, a year and a half or 2 years, right? And the wave of form of a player crashes down. Maybe it's like 3 month or 6 month or 4 month cycles. So I think there's probably a better time period to capture the data, and that's all it is. Like Brooks. He's got two big events with chunky points pushing him into this. So like it doesn't probably reflect his poor form. So on the other side of it, yeah, he's been shot into the top 20 only because of this. He got 100 points.
Yeah.
So and I think everybody under about 20th has like less than 100 or something. Does like something stupid. And this is the opposite with Rory. Like he got all these points earlier, and he's hanging on off these points and not really deserving them. His first decent finish this week. So I think they need to look at how players form trends and better suit that, because I don't understand. Like all it is a time capture is not right. It needs to be 9 months.
Will Zalatoris at 10. Like he's
again,
not 10th in the world.
He had lots of high finishes last year in major events and really big events. That's why. Like you can't say, like you just said, the form slumps are like 3 months. So what will happen to Cam Smith is there become a point where all of that stuff drops off because it all happened at one point, and he'll rocket down. It's exactly what happens, just like Brooks is rocketing up because he started to perform well. Hayden just said it before. It doesn't capture Brooks's bad form that he had last year, right? And leading up to before LIV or LIV golf. It has to be over a longer period of time, because otherwise it's just going to chop and change every 5 seconds, because the recency bias, we see players play well and we forget that Rory was the top dog only a couple of months ago.
There's a counter argument to everything. The issue I have is Will Zalatoris is getting his designated events, even though he can't play because he's injured, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's somebody who's outside the top 50 in the FedEx Cup points, which is sort of, here or there with the golf rankings, however the hell they do that. These guys that have these points that are hanging on to world ranking points are actually dropping people out of events. So, I think for every argument to shorten it, there's an argument to keep the same length. So there's the problem is the whole system's flawed, and I think they need to start from the ground up. It just does not work.
I don't think
if Brooks
so
wants to have his world ranking reflected accurately, he should play in events that give world ranking points. He went to a tour that he knew had no world ranking points, and so did all of those guys. So you can't cry to me about not having world ranking points when you signed a contract knowing you weren't going to get any for at least 2 years.
But I think that potentially Brooks being being like 15th or whatever he is in the world is probably right for someone climbing the wave. So arguably Brooks isn't exactly where he needs to be.
I mean, look, that's a good point, Hayden. I completely see why over a long period of time they are where they are. Like I get that. but this year didn't just start, a couple months ago. This year started back in September or October when they kicked off the new season.
I personally start the year at Hawaii.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, and I think
Kapalua.
That's the beginning of the season.
Yeah, is that October?
That's in January.
I can't remember. Yeah.
January. I'm sure.
Yeah, because they have the Christmas break and stuff.
Yeah. Off season. Yeah.
Okay.
They do like the West Coast swing or something. I don't know.
I thought, yeah, maybe it is. Sorry, I thought it started in like October, but I just feel like
no, the President's Cup was in September. What was the Zozo was in October. Yeah, Bermuda, like none of the stuff you would count. Hero Challenge. So the Hero Challenge, is that the no, that was one
that's in Dubai. Right? That's the one that
yeah,
Hero Challenge was in December. No, Hovland won that apparently.
I think you're looking at the
Century Tournament of Champions that's this year. Was John Rahm won that on the 5th to 8th of January.
Okay.
So it's the January. So the again we've been going for 4 months. So
almost half a year. Almost half a year, right? We're almost at 6 months. Yeah. And I feel like there's been enough golf played in that time where there should be more of a shift in the leaderboard. I don't like golf is so ever changing. I don't think someone's performance 2 years ago should be even relevant. I'm sorry to say, I disagree.
I think that to be one of the best players in the world, you should show that you can have longevity and play over a longer period of time, because everyone can win once. Everyone can win. Well, not everyone, but like these guys can all win. If that's the case,
Phil and Tiger should still be at the top.
No, but like over longevity, like over a year and a half, 2 years, you should show that you can be at the top, in the top 10, there or thereabouts, week in, week out, not just on your day. Which is exactly
I think both ways you look at it is flawed, and this is the counter argument to what you're saying, Dan. 15th in the world rankings, Justin Thomas. He has basically won the PGA Championship a year and a half ago or something, whatever it was. And has struggled. He's been pretty terrible ever since, right?
Yeah.
Behind him, 3 spots, is Tyrrell Hatton, and you heard how he's been playing.
Yeah, but he didn't play that well last year. This is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is the point.
I don't think he played that bad last year.
Thomas is a better world-ranked player now, today, than Tyrrell Hatton. And Tyrrell Hatton has been probably one of the most informed players on the entire tour all year. So that is an issue. I'm not saying I agree with it, but that's the counter argument to the short versus the long term. Short term, Tyrrell Hatton beats JT 9 out of 10 weekends at the moment. And he's 3 places behind. And I don't even want to know where Tony Finau is. I know he's been playing better than him.
Yeah, he's 12.
Tony's 12, isn't he?
So, he's 12th.
Oh, no, that's FedEx Cup. He's 12th.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard.
Why they have the FedEx
Cameron Young's
Cup
been playing well. He hasn't won anything. He's 16th.
Exactly.
It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense.
But the FedEx Cup shows you where they stand this year currently against their peers.
I'm looking at the OG.
No, but I'm saying, so the OGWR is over a long period of time. The FedEx Cup is now, and how many events you've won this year. So there's 2 ways to look at it. So if you look at
what place is Brooks in the FedEx Cup?
Brooks doesn't play enough events. That's what I'm saying.
Hey, he got 600 points though.
Yeah, he did.
And a PGA card and a DP World Tour card.
That's fine. So he can use his PGA card.
In the FedEx Cup ratings.
Hey, I would love nothing more than to see him come back to the PGA. But I'm just saying, you signed a contract going somewhere where you knew you weren't going to get points. Don't cry to me about it less than 2 years later. I'm sorry.
Golf is golf.
But this is not live. We're not talking about it. We're not
PGA fanboys, honestly. Like,
no, it's not. It's like if you sign up to do something that you know you don't get rewarded in the same way you used to, then don't cry about not getting rewarded the same way you used to.
I think the argument's not about Liv. It's not about Brooks. It's about that the the world rankings that say who is the best golfers in the world are wrong.
But they can't. So, how do they calculate over 3 days with the horrible field?
I don't know why you keep bringing Liv up. This has got nothing to do with Liv.
Because Brooks plays in Liv.
We're not talking about Brooks, Dan. We're talking about.
Let's reel it in.
We're talking about Justin Thomas versus Max Homa. We're talking about, so it doesn't matter. It's not necessarily a Brooks thing or a Liv thing. It's about the world rankings are broken. The world rankings are broken, and how they calculate them is broken.
And Rahm, number 2 now, Scotty Scheffler just moved up to number 1, has been calling this out for years. So I don't agree with them. I don't think they're proper representation. I understand maybe, Dan, you do, and that's fine. Everyone has their own opinion. I just want to call this out.
They're not exactly right, but there's there's definitely you can't just say over the last couple of months someone's done better, so they deserve to be higher. Like let's put Brooks at 2 and put Rahm at 10 then, because he did bad this weekend. Like,
no, we're just saying
like the recency
Victor's wrong.
bias.
I'm not
is
saying one
rampant.
tournament defines your world your OWGR rankings, but over this past year, what I'm saying is that this should have a more proper representation of the top players, and I don't think it does. That's my opinion, and yeah, we'll leave it at that for now. Next, let's move on to Danny Business's picks from last week. See how we did. See how we ended up, and we'll also look at potential picks for this coming weekend.
For this week, the picks were a bit sparse for us this week, unfortunately.
Not all of us.
We only had one of us got one thing right, which I'll give you props, Shanky. You've gone from negative $30 to positive $40 this weekend, with Minwoo Lee coming in the T20 at $7. That was fantastic value. So congratulations, round of applause for you. Very, very good. I've gone from $16.80 in the positive to $36.80 in the negative, as I lost all 4 of my bets. Foxy by 1 stroke, and the rest just completely wrong. And Hayden as well just missed out with Morikawa with the T20, and really only just missed out with Scotty too, I guess, in the outright. But you've gone from negative 50 cents to negative $50.50, which Shanky has shown us can be turned around very, very quickly.
Just need one
in the space of 1 week. You just need one, right? So I think as we go out, this is exciting, because as we go throughout the year and one of us gets 1 or one of us gets 2, we'll start to see the leaderboard change. So what I've done for this week, and you've all got we've got the field for next week, is we're going to do 2 multis and a day 1 lead. So you have to pick 2 players to finish in the top 10 and 2 players to finish in the top 20, and then the day 1 leader. Does that make sense? Yep. Cool. Awesome. So I'll kick us off since I started. I'm going to get back onto the field. But I'm going to start from the day 1 leader. And I've got a feeling that this guy is going to go wire to wire and just win the whole thing. And I think it's Scotty Scheffler. I know that sounds like a safe pick, but I think he's at home. He's just come off probably what's a disappointing second finish for him, which is ridiculous to say. I think he's going to lead from start to finish, and he'll take it out. That's what I've got for the day 1 leader. For the 2 T10s, I'm going to have a little bit of a turnaround of form here and go with our boy Max Homa and Tony Finau. So I'm going to put those 2 in as the T10. So Finau and Homa. And because I am such a fanboy with T20, I'm going to take your boy Foxy and Fowler. I think they're going to pay me back for the loss last week. So the T20, I'm going to have both Fowler and Foxy in the top 20. What about yourself, Shanky?
All right. Looking at this now, in my top 10, I'm going to do my top 10s first.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put my boy Fleetwood, who's been playing solid golf even this weekend. He played solid golf in the major. And I'm going to back him with, I wanted to say Finau, but you picked Finau. Did you pick Finau for 10 or 20?
10.
Yeah, you picked him for 10. I'll put Finau in my 20. I'll put him in my top 20. I think Finau's gonna be able to pull something off this weekend. But for my other top 10, I wanted to see. Oh, there. Sorry, my other top 20. Akshay Bhatia. Get the young man in there. Akshay. Sponsors exemption. Sponsors. He's in there on a sponsors exemption. Come on, mate. Pull something together. My other top 10 is going to be just looking at actually, sorry. Can I switch Finau 10? I'm going to put him into 10.
Yep.
And I'm going to put Minwoo Lee in my top 20 again.
Hey, Minwoo. I like it.
He's also on 2 exemptions in the top 20. So looking forward to that. Mm-hmm. Day 1 leader. You pick Scotty. I think for this weekend, I think Rahm's going to come out hot. I think he's going to have the fire in his belly. I think he's going to come out hot. Day 1 leader, Jon Rahm.
Fair enough. I like it. Hayden?
I'm gonna go. I'm not gonna change it. I'm just gonna go day one leader, Scotty. And I agree with you entirely. I think he could just go wire to wire.
Yeah, I like a wire to wire bit.
He's won it before. Yeah. Top 10, I'm going to go Sam Burns and Finau. I think that they're both pretty solid picks there. I think Sam Burns has won it before. I'm not sure
Burns
about
won
Finau.
it last year, I think. Burns won it last year, yeah.
There you go. So those two. And top 20, I'm going to go Max Homa and Colin Morikawa.
Homa and Morikawa, the combination from the match play the other week.
You want the Morikawa bad.
He does. He's forcing it.
He just wasn't great, and he was almost there this week. And I think he'll get there. Look, Colonial's shorter. It's 7,200 yards, so a fair bit shorter. It's past 70. There's only 2 par 5s, 1 in each 9. So probably suits someone like him. If you're going to score points, it's going to be on par 4s. Hopefully he remembers how to hit that 6-iron. We're going to go Morikawa.
I think that we could see. I think this course is going to be a lot easier, obviously, than Oak Hill was, and I think we could see some really low scores. Yeah. Some golfers taking out some frustrations on a course, going up to beat up the weak kid next door, right? Like, I feel like they're going to get in there and just absolutely go to town on this course, and that's why I think Scotty. I think his putter gets hot this week. I think Scotty starts to sink all those putts that he's been missing, and he goes wire to wire.
Yeah,
when the putter gets hot, anyone could win. Just a question on this though. So if for the top 10s and top 20s, because we have 2 picks, do they both have to hit?
Or they both have to hit. So it's like a multi. So you're gonna have a lot better odds. Maybe next week we'll do an either or, but this week it's a multi.
I'm gonna make a change.
Okay.
I'm gonna make a change. Keep Minwoo. We're gonna take out Akshay. Sorry, mate. Just a bit too risky on that one.
Yeah.
And we'll put Scotty. We'll put Scotty in top 20.
Oh, come on. All right.
Actually, no. Sorry. No. Take out Scotty. Actually, no. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that.
Just have everyone in there. Why not?
Take out Scotty and put in. Where is he? And put in Ricky Fowler, top 20.
Fowler. Okay. Yeah. You with me on that one? You got the Finau and the Fowler. Let's go. We're all riding Finau this week, and Scotty, apart from Simon. I like it. Good work.
Great. All right. Picks done. We're all set. Looking forward to next week, guys. I think this was a good chat. If there's any other topics we want to cover, we can do it now. Otherwise, we'll see you next week.
Yeah, I'm good.
Peace out.